2025 meeting of the Committee on Finance, Audit, and Budget. Georgette, would you please call the roll?
Director Michelle Lee.
Present.
Director Nima Jha.
Present.
Director Rosa Ortiz.
Here.
Chairman Barclay.
Here.
Director Bernard Jakes.
Here.
Director Jakes, you do have a quorum.
It's been brought to our attention in preparation for today's meeting that Director
Director
Roquejo
Michelle Lee.
was unable to attend in person due to a travel obligation in connection with emergency family matter. I have a motion that he be permitted to participate in this meeting remotely.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Jha, that Director Roberto Requejo be permitted to attend the meeting remotely. We will take a roll call vote. Director Lee.
Yes.
Director Jha.
Yes.
Director Ortiz.
Yes.
Chairman Barclay.
Yes.
Director Jakes.
Yes.
The motion passes.
The next order of business is the approval of the committee minutes of October 8th, 2025. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Jha, that the committee minutes from October 8th, 2025 be approved. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Lee.
Yes.
Director Jha.
Yes.
Director Ortiz.
Yes.
Chairman Barclay.
Yes.
Director Jakes.
Yes.
Director Requejo.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Our next order of business is the finance report. Tom McComb.
Morning, directors. Tom McCone, Chief Financial Officer. I'm going to take you through the monthly report results here. The most recent month we have is September. So let me share the screen here first.
This is the finance report. Tom McComb.
Okay, so we're going to start with our system generated revenues. Now that we're in the month of September, you'll see kind of the trends that we've been having throughout the year carry forward in September as well. So fare and pass revenue coming in slightly below budget, but above where we were last September. So continuing to see that ridership growth, which is prompting revenue growth as well. However, slightly under the forecast that we have been seeing there, in particular on the fare box side of things. That's more than offset by the non-fare box revenue. That's that additional investment in curve and the higher interest rates that we've been experiencing throughout the year. So revenue total for the month, about $500,000 better than budget, 2.6 million ahead of where we were last year. Again, year to date, you're going to see those same trends that we have in September carry forward here into the year to date numbers. So a little bit larger totals there. So fare and pass revenue up by 6.6 million versus last year, a little bit under the forecast that we have in the budget. This is consistent with the trend that we forecasted for the rest of the year. Non-fare box revenue well ahead of our budget and also ahead of where we were last year for those same reasons that we talked about for September. So revenue total for the year, 12.7 million positive to budget, 23.3 million better than where we were last year. On the expenses side, again, some of the trends that we anticipate happening at the end of the year here as we head into the third quarter, we are going to see some continued slight negative variance on the labor side of things. We are at full employment. We're seeing slightly higher fringe rate than we had anticipated. So this is coming in at the forecast level, which will be slightly negative to budget in the labor category. That's going to be more than offset by the remainder of expense categories that we have: material, fuel, power, all benefiting from the fact that we have some additional new vehicles coming into service. And then we're getting a one-time power credit in there as well, which makes that Power One particularly positive. Security services, timing there slightly negative for the month, but you'll see that's offset by some of the positive variance that we're carrying in that category. Other expenses, a lot of contractual services savings that are in that particular line. So total operating expenses, 9.1 million positive budget. Year to date, we roll that forward, 72.4 million in total, below the budgeted level on expenses. That's again consistent with our forecast and the positive variance that we're expecting for this year. If we go into the public funding side of things, we'll see the most recent month of collections was particularly robust. Sales tax collections in July, about 11 million better than had been budgeted. That's consistent with the matching public transportation funds that we have coming in as well. And the real estate transfer tax did well in the most recent month of collections as well. So kind of across the board, seeing that public funding coming in better than forecast, which allows us to preserve more of that reserve as we forecasted for next year. So year to date, 86.6 million favorable to budget on the public funding side of things. And on the commodity side, as promised, we have fixed our purchase of 2026 power. We were able to execute that agreement a few weeks ago to lock in that pricing for our power. We got a rate that was a little bit better than we had budgeted, not enough to really make a huge difference, a couple $100,000 in projected savings off of that. So, but really great to have that budget certainty around locking in that power price, which the price per kilowatt hour is not going to change no matter the level of power that we're consuming. That concludes my report. Happy to answer any questions.
No, I don't have any questions. Tom, thank you.
We'll take questions from the rest of the board members. Director Rakeho?
No questions.
Director Lee?
No questions.
Director Ja?
Questions.
Director Ortiz?
Question, thank you.
Chairman Barclay?
No questions, thank you.
Director Jakes, there are no questions.
Agenda item 4 is the review of an ordinance approving the fair change equity analysis and authorizing the implementation of fair structure revisions. Molly, Poppy, and Teresa Fletcher Brown.
I know where the microphone is. Good morning, Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Molly Poppy. I'm the agency's Chief Planning and Innovation Officer. I'm joined today by my colleague, Teresa Fletcher Brown. Teresa, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Teresa Fletcher Brown, Director of EEO and Compliance Programs.
We are here to seek approval of the ordinance authorizing the Title VI fair equity analysis and authorizing the implementation of fair product revisions. Specifically, we are seeking to make 2 fair pilot programs launched earlier this year permanent. The 2 fair product pilots are the Regional Day Pass authorized by this board earlier this year and the free rides on fixed route transit for paratransit entitlement card holders. Sorry, that is a mouthful. The free rides on fixed route was launched in October at the direction of the RTA board and its paratransit action plan. The Regional Day Pass is a joint CTA PACE Metro 1-day pass product, enabling reduced fares on the 3 service boards for 24 hours. This product has been successful since launch, reaching approximately 3,500 passes sold each month. The free rides for paratransit card holders was designed to help mitigate the costs on these transit-dependent users as RTA and PACE implemented a cap on the number of rides a paratransit user can take each month through the Rideshare Access Program or the Taxi Access Program, often referred to as RAP and TAP. These free rides were implemented on October 1st, and since that time, we have seen an increase of about 500 weekly rides on CTA from these paratransit card holders. A Title VI fair equity analysis was performed by the agency as required by the FTA and in accordance with the CTA's service and fair equity policy. The fair equity analysis found there was no disparate impact on minority riders, nor was there a disproportionate burden on low-income riders. Given the success of these programs and the fair equity analysis confirming no disparate impact or disproportionate burden, we are seeking to make these fair programs permanent as part of the 2026 budget process. Thank you. I will take any questions.
Is there any conversation about doing the regional pass, extending it past a 1 day, maybe a 3 or 5, 7?
Yeah, so we have the Regional Connect Pass, which is the 30-day, which was authorized back in 2023, and we are looking to potentially do like a week or a 7-day would be a long-term look as well. Metra does not have a 3-day pass. They only have a 1-day. They have a 5-day ticket book. They have a week, and then they also have a 30-day or a monthly, and so we'll look to align with Metra. So it likely won't be a 3-day, but we could see a 7-day or a week-long product.
This is great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Other questions? Director Lee?
I just think it's great that these pilot programs are successful and that we're making them permanent, but no question. Thank you.
Director Ja?
No questions, thanks.
Director Ortiz?
I agree with Director Lee's comments. Thank you.
Chairman Barclay?
Questions, thank you.
Director Rakeho?
No questions, thanks.
Director Jakes, there are no further questions.
May I now have leave to place this item on the omnibus for board approval?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Ja, that this item be placed on the omnibus for board approval. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Lee?
Yes.
Director Ja?
Yes.
Director Ortiz? Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Director Rakeho?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Agenda item 5 is the review of an ordinance adopting a budget for calendar year 2026 and the financial plan for calendar years 2027 and 2028. Tom.
Great. Good morning again. Give me a moment here. I'm going to pull up a presentation to describe this item. And actually, it's going to describe the next ordinance as well, which is the capital program. So let me start this and then share the screen.
But Tom, as you're getting that ready, you're going to merge 5 and 6 as one.
In my remarks, I will. Yeah, so I won't have any additional remarks for number 6. Okay. Here today to introduce the 2026 operating budget and the 2-year operating plan, and then discuss at the end the 5-year proposed capital improvement plan as well. Okay, we entered the development of our 2026 budget facing unprecedented uncertainty. In 2026, we will spend the remaining of our one-time funding sources, leaving a gap in funding to support our current level of services. We did not know if any additional funding would be available next year to address this. When we released the proposed budget on October 13th, we laid out 3 scenarios. One, where we have enough funding to fill the gap required to run our current level of services. 2, an expansionary scenario where our investments in our service and our riders grows to match the levels we see in other cities. And 3, a reduced scenario with no new funding where we would be forced to cut service and lay off nearly 20% of our workforce. In each of these scenarios, we centered our investments on the core themes laid out by our acting president, focusing on people, the 1 million+ riders we support daily and the 11,000 employees at our agency, places, the communities we serve across the region, performance, cementing our position as the best transit agency in the country, one that was able to hire and train 5,000 employees in 2 years and is recognized as one of the most efficient transit agencies in the world, and partnerships, seeking external input for our work by having open, ongoing dialogue with riders, community organizations, labor unions, advocates, and others. To help inform our budget proposals, we conducted another unprecedented level of outreach before releasing those 3 budget scenarios. This summer, CTA management and executive staff were present throughout the system for CTA chats, having direct with our riders at a variety of stations and bus terminals. In September, we conducted 3 town halls across the city at Amani Village, Truman College, and Malcolm X College. And we had the first joint session of the Citizens Advisory Board and the ADA Advisory Committee to get their input on the proposed budgets. And finally, we held a public hearing on November 5th, where we sought public dialogue in a formal fashion on our proposed budget. Through this, you can see we reached over 1,500 riders at 18 different bus and rail stations throughout the city. We had 400+ people attending our town halls across these 3 different events, 6,000 people completing our virtual survey. And to all of them, we heard it's important to cover safety, cleanliness, and frequency. These are the 3 most important themes that came out from all these dialogues that we had with our riders. So what we're coming forward with and proposing, less than 2 weeks ago, on October 31st, we received the marvelous news that the Illinois legislature passed the funding package that provides the additional funding we sought. The funding levels are consistent with our expansionary scenario, and we are moving forward in that direction. Last week, the RTA updated the approved regional funding levels to fill the gap to provide our current level of service, including the investments that we have made in cleaning, security, and service over the past several years, most notably the bus frequent network. So the budget we are proposing has no service cuts, no layoffs, and we do have sufficient funding so that we don't have to take the 10% fare increase that was initially proposed in our budget. What that means is that we're expecting additional ridership next year. So 4.2 million more rides expected in 2026 with the existing service levels. The operating expenses that I'll go through with you in a moment maintain the $60 million in efficiencies that we proposed. And there's no proposed changes to the scenario 1 budget for expenses in what we're bringing forward. On the revenue side, as I mentioned, we are not proposing the 10% fare increase that was in our budget. We are including the free rides that was just approved by this board in the previous ordinance, along with the single day ticket for CTA, Metro, and Pace. It makes permanent that regional day pass. It recognizes the additional public funding that's made available through Senate Bill 2111 with an allocation of $142 million to eliminate the gap between revenues and expenses that I mentioned earlier. And as I've said, it's a little bit hard to believe that it was less than 2 weeks ago when we received that news and we're able to come forward with this budget today. So what's in the budget? The operating revenues. This is the side of things that changed a little bit from what we put out before. We have our traditional public funding sources. That's the sales tax, the match that's associated with that sales tax, the real estate transfer tax. That comes in at $1.37 billion. That also includes that one-time allocation that was made by the RTA this year to help delay the fiscal cliff that we were facing. That $72 million additional allocation is in there. The designated operating reserve, these are those one-time funding sources I mentioned that we will run out of next year as we spend what is remaining of those funds that were granted to us in 2021 and in 2020. The SB 2111 allocation, this $142 million, which fills the remaining gap in our revenues and expenses. Our fare and pass revenue, which is our system generated revenue, which also includes the state fare reimbursement for our reduced fare and our free fare programs, advertising and concession revenue, and then other system generated revenue as well. On the expenses side here, once again, labor consumes most of our budget. It's more than 2/3 of our budget in the 2026 operating plan. That's not a surprise. We're a labor intensive industry. Transit as a whole is labor intensive. This means that pretty much every dollar that we're putting in, we're putting as much of it as we can directly into service and supporting the service that we put out there. The rest of it, materials, fuel, and power, all directly related to the service we're putting out there. The damages reserve, funding that at a level that's recommended by our actuaries. Security services, maintaining those investments that we saw coming forward this year. And then other expenses, which includes our pension debt service as part of that one. So side by side, just to make sure that we cover what changed between what was proposed in our scenario one budget, which was that baseline budget, and what has changed today. What you can see here, fares and passes, we do take out that increase that was coming from the 10% increase in pricing there. So you can see that change, lowering that system generated revenue number. And then down below here, we see the SB 2111 allocation at $141 million. Which takes care of those balancing actions that would have been to balance the budget, which we didn't know where they were coming from when we released our budget on October 13th. So in addition to the operating budget, we are proposing a 5-year capital improvement program for the next 5-year period, which is 2026 to 2030. The total value of this is at $6.75 billion. The funding sources are laid out on the bottom left-hand side there. What you can see, federal sources, again, make up the core of our capital program. Those are those federal funding formula funds that we receive, which are again form the core of our program. The state motor fuel tax, ongoing state support for our capital program. The ICE program, discretionary program that's administered by RTA. The transit TIF, this is the Red Line Extension TIF, which is providing important local funding for the Red Line Extension. And the discretionary programs, almost entirely the amount that we're going to receive in this next 5 years from the federal government as part of their investment into the Red Line Extension. Again, that's part of the total of $2 billion that we have from the federal government for that Red Line Extension, and then the matching CTA bonds, which provide, again, additional local match and project funds for that project. You can see the categorizations on the right-hand side. Again, major project included in there is the Red Line Extension, but that also includes our All Stations Accessibility Program, our vehicle program, both new vehicles and upgrades of vehicles, along with our stations and facility improvements as well. With that, let me turn it over to Acting President Learson for her remarks.
Thanks, Tom. So what we wanted to call out here is just some clarity of what's happening today and what plans we have for future growth. So on the left-hand side, you see the gap fill budget. That's the budget that's getting approved today with the marks that are identified last week. And as you will recall from being briefed on the budget, even in the gap filled budget, we took some measures to move forward on the vision that is focused on people, places, performance, and partnership. So all of those actions are being approved today in terms of the initial updates to the chatbot, expanding the accessibility staffing, establishing ETOD office, putting together Blue Line Forest Park modernization program, the continuance of the bus frequent network, expanding the question, continuing with our safety Safe Ride Ambassador pilot and our targeted security with CPD. So that's all being approved today on the left-hand side. But we are absolutely moving forward with the right-hand side, our funding of our transit growth as well. And that is what Tom is discussing, that we are in conversations with RTA and our regional partners about the approach to that funding growth. But that will include in 2026, our plans do include expanding the Orange Line service to 24 hours to Midway Airport, expanding our bus frequent network from 20 to 30 routes across the whole region, expanding the ETOD office from just the initial establishment to a full staff of 5 people, as well as improving rail frequency and expanding the Safe Ride Ambassador pilot and our Second Chance program. So we wanted to give a sense of what comes next in terms of growth, because I know that's top of mind for everyone, given the exciting news. And I'll take Tom's new adjective that he's added to this marvelous situation that we're in. So I'll have some further reflections on this moment in my report, but in terms of the budget, we really wanted to make clear, given the unique situation we're in right now, working with RTA, what you knew was happening today and what we're proceeding with in planning for next steps.
Yeah, and when we get to that next step, it was mentioned on one of our slides, we are looking for an amended budget. So there's still an unallocated portion at the regional level that's over $300 million that has yet to be allocated to the service boards, which is why we'd be seeking that amended budget, obviously bringing it back to our board so that we can incorporate that and support that growth level of investments. So happy to answer any questions.
Tom, the 3 million that we talked about last year, is that baked into the security budget?
It is. It's baked into the budget. It's actually not carried in the security line specifically, since it's sort of like additional supportive security measurements, but it is baked into the budget.
Okay, good. Thank you. Great job. Thank you.
We'll take other questions from members of the board. Director Cahill.
Yes, thank you. Congratulations, of course, to everyone for this marvelous news and budget. Just to clarify, the budget that we are voting on today ensures the improvements in the blue column, but what's stated in the green column is not being voted on today or included today, because that would require an amended budget with additional funds that are currently residing or will be residing at RTA. Am I expressing this correctly?
Yeah, I think that's the point of looking for an amended budget, because this would require an additional level of investments. Right now, we're seeking your approval for the baseline budget, which again makes sure that we can support the baseline level of service. We have a set of funds that remain unallocated that would be needed to support the green column, that funding transit growth, which are currently set aside as an RTA reserve at the regional level. And so we'd be working with them to get that amended as quickly as possible so that the service boards can see the amount of funding that we'll be having in 2026 to support the funding transit growth column.
So okay, thanks. So I understand this. And so when you were walking us through the process, you mentioned that this was an unprecedented effort in feedback from people, right? Like the community engagement component of this budget had never had the volume of riders, workers, transit advocates. And the 3 things that were mentioned are safety, frequency, and cleanliness being the priorities. And there was a real sense of urgency, at least in the events I was part of and talking to people. And so while I am celebratory here, I'm also wondering what is the timeline to implement this transfer of additional funds, because that green column is what people were clamoring about. I'm thinking about the cleaning, the safety, the frequency, and I know people have been waiting for a long time. The money seems to be there. So what would it take to get this approved, amended, and passed?
Yeah, so a couple things. It takes a minute for us to make investments. As you know, we have to hire, right? In the case of, if they require additional human resources, or we have to look for additional support. So it takes a while to put those in place. We know that the funding doesn't come online until the second half of the year. But because of the time frame that it takes to make sure that we can sort of bring people on board, plan for that additional expansion, obviously we have to schedule service. It takes a while to schedule. You can only put service in place at certain points throughout the year. We want to make sure that we know that it's coming as soon as possible so that we can plan for that expansionary scenario. And that's where we've been communicating with the RTA directly about sort of our desire to have that amended as soon as possible to recognize that additional funding that's coming to the service boards, even though we know a lot of the expenditures won't happen in a really robust way until the second half of the year. We need to have some certainty about the levels that we would be receiving so that we can start planning for that now.
Got it. Thanks. I'll say in closing, thank you for clarifying. I understand, there is going to be a planning process for this, but I would really encourage everyone to prioritize in this list of things the ones that people were more intense and interested in implementing, and also making sure that we arrive to that mid-year point with the dollars at hand and the ability to immediately implement these changes. And thanks again.
Other questions from members of the board? Director Lee?
No further questions. Otherwise, just congratulations again, and glad that there's no fare increases for the public. So it's always nice to see the baseline. Thank you.
Director Jha?
No question, just reiterating what we talked about in briefing is a detailed plan on accessibility, both on the blue and the green, what it means, level of funding, schedule, just an overview of end-to-end system-wide where we stand would be great.
Director Ortiz?
Yes, I want to agree with all the comments that have been said. I know this was no easy lift. This was a lot of time, a lot of work from everyone, leadership, individuals who are here today, other partners, community partners who were really in partnership with all of us to make sure that the right funding was allocated for the CTA. So just really thankful for everyone's contribution and everyone's effort. Collectively, I think this is an incredible milestone. Again, not having fare increases, not having to lay off individuals. There are employees, our partners in this work are all incredible milestones. So we're really thankful for that. And I would second what Roberto was saying, Director Requejo, in terms of just really staying focused on RTA and making sure that we get the allocations that we need for us to improve the kinds of things that we advocated for. And so again, whatever support is needed, I think everyone has shown a lot of collaboration to make sure that those funds are allocated as expected. So I know there's still work on that, but thank you for your leadership, and everyone's support on that is still obviously needed. So thank you.
Thanks for highlighting that. And I would say, be remiss if I didn't thank everybody that worked on the budget too, and not just one budget, but 2 and 3 budgets, right? Not just in the finance department, but across the agency, right? Everybody did a lot more this year to help put together these scenarios. And thankfully, we're sitting where we are today.
Chairman Barclay?
Thank you for the work on those multiple budgets. I know scenarios kept changing to some degree. I have mixed feelings because on the one hand, I'm very grateful that you were able to, get the additional funding that we needed. And thank you to your team for all the efforts that you guys expended to do that. On the other hand, public thinks that we got a lot of money to do a lot of these creative things that are in this green category. And I don't think that's quite the case. This is our wish list. This is what we hope will happen, but it's subject to RTA. And last weekend, just hearing a portion of their meeting raised some concerns about the expediency of this process, because some of the things that are outlined here it's going to take time to plan those things out and implement those things. And so we really need to know what RTA's position is relative to the additional funding that we need to do the creative process that we've talked about in terms of implementing some of these concepts that have been outlined. So for me, I just want to know, as soon as possible. And so I would ask for a monthly update next month on discussions with RTA to know when those funds are going to be allocated to the transit boards, service boards, so that we have a better idea, because I don't think you can just get the money and then implement these plans. As you indicated, it takes quite a bit of time to plan and gear up and hire and do what you need to do. So I would like a monthly update as to where we are in the process towards, RTA making a determination of what we have coming, what they believe that is the appropriate amount, so we can plan accordingly.
Yeah, thank you. Happy to provide that update. We do have a couple of milestones coming up at the regional level.
Director Jakes, there are no further questions.
Because Tom actually covered agenda item 6 and 5. I'll just read what it is. It's it was the 2026 through 2030 capital improvement program, and authorizing the filing and execution of grant and cooperative agreements and amendments and related materials. You were done with all of that, correct? Right. Okay, so then I'm going to move to agenda item 8.
We need to don't we have to put them on the,
Need a motion to put.
we have to put it on the omnibus?
Item 5 and 6.
Separate.
Okay, so we need to put 5 and 6 together, or just
No, separately. They're separate
Okay,
ordinances.
so then may I have a motion to place item agenda 5 on the omnibus for board approval?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Ja, that the ordinance adopting the budget for calendar year 2026 and financial plan for calendar years 2027 through 2028 be placed on the omnibus. Board approval will take a roll call vote. Director Lee? Yes. Director Ja?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Director Requejo?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Now, may I have a motion to place item agenda 6 on the omnibus for board approval?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Ja, that agenda item number 6, which approves the fiscal year 2026 through 2030 capital improvement program and authorizes the filing and execution of grant and cooperative agreements and amendments and related materials be placed on the omnibus for board approval. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Ja?
Yes.
Director Lee?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Director Requejo?
Yes.
Director Jakes, you may now proceed to agenda item number 7.
Thank you. I've been advised that there is a need to defer agenda item 7, which was the review of an ordinance authorizing a license agreement with PharmaBox LLC to the December 2025 Finance Audit and Budget meeting. I have a motion to defer to said fixed time.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Ja. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Lee? Director Ja?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Director Requejo?
Yes.
Director Jakes, we may now proceed to agenda item number 8.
I've also been advised that there's a need to defer agenda item 8, which was the review of an ordinance declaring surplus and authorizing the sale of real property located at 300-304 East Garfield Boulevard, Chicago, to the Skitopia Foundation to the December 2025 Finance Audit and Budget meeting. May I have a motion to defer to said fixed time?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Ja to defer the consideration of this ordinance. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Lee?
Yes.
Director Ja?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Jakes? Director Requejo?
Yes.
The motion passes. Director Jakes, we may now proceed to agenda item number 9.
Agenda item 9 is the review of an ordinance authorizing payment of relocation expenses arising from the acquisition of property located at 11900 South Cottage Grove Avenue, Chicago, for the Red Line Extension Project. Bill.
Good morning, Bill Mooney, your Chief Infrastructure Officer. Staff recommends approval of an ordinance authorizing the payment of relocation expenses arising from the acquisition of the property located at 11900 South Cottage Grove in support of the Red Line Extension Project. PTA has acquired the subject parcel formerly known as the All-American Recycling Facility, and the board authorized under ordinance number 025-59 advancement of relocation payments required by the Federal Uniform Relocation Act not to exceed a value of $5.5 million. At this time, all relocation activities have been completed and staff is requesting approval to increase the authorized limit for relocation payments to a new limit of $8,073,470. The increased limit is within the relocation budget for the project and does not impact the overall project contingency. Be happy to take any questions on this item.
No questions, Bill. Thank you.
Director Lee, any questions?
Questions? Thank you, Bill.
Director Ja?
No questions, thank you.
Director Ortiz?
No questions.
Chairman Barclay?
No questions.
Director Raquel?
No questions.
Director Jakes, there are no questions.
And I now have leave to place this item on the omnibus for board approval.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Ja, that this item be placed on the omnibus for board approval. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Raquel?
Yes.
Director Lee?
Yes.
Director Ja?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Director Jakes, the motion passes. We may now proceed to agenda item number 11.
So we're not doing 10.
I'm sorry, we may now proceed to agenda item number 10.
I've been advised that there is a need to defer agenda item 10, which was the review of an ordinance authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Chicago for the transfer of real property to the December 2025 Finance Audit and Budget Meeting. May I have a motion to defer to said fixed time?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Ja, that agenda item number 10, which was the review of an ordinance authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with the city for the transfer of real property, be moved to a said fixed time, which is the December 2025 Finance Audit and Budget Meeting. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Lee?
Yes.
Director Ja? Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Director Cahill?
Yes.
The motion passes. Director Jakes, we may now proceed to agenda item number 11.
The next order of business is the review of contract number A1, which is a contract award for transit operations. I have no questions.
We'll take questions from other members of the board. Director Lee? Director Ja? Director Ortiz? Chairman Barclay? Director Cahill?
No questions.
Director Jakes, we may now proceed to contract numbers B1 through B4.
Next order of business is the review of contracts numbers B1 through B4, which are contract awards for infrastructure. No questions.
Director Lee, any questions?
Thank you.
Director Ja?
Questions.
Director Ortiz?
No questions.
Chairman Barclay?
No questions.
Director Cahill?
No questions.
Director Jakes, there are no questions. We may now proceed to contract number D1.
Contract D1 is a contract award for planning innovation. I have no questions.
Director Lee, any questions? Director Ja?
Questions.
Director Ortiz?
No questions.
Chairman Barclay?
Question.
Director Cahill?
No questions.
Director Jakes, there are no further questions. We may now proceed to contract I1.
Contract number I1 is a contract award for diversity. I have no questions.
Director Lee?
None, thank you.
Director Ja?
Questions.
Director Ortiz?
Questions.
Chairman Barclay?
Question.
Director Cahill?
No questions.
Director Jakes, there are no further contracts to review.
Since there are no further questions on the contracts, may I have leave to place the 7 contracts on the omnibus?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Ja, that the 7 contracts be placed on the omnibus for board approval. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Lee?
Yes.
Director Ja?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Director Cahill?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Since there are no further questions on the contract, did I do that already?
Yeah. Further business to come before the committee.
Well, amen. Since there is no further business to come before the committee, may I have a motion to approve the omnibus?
So moved.
Recommend the omnibus for board approval.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Ja, that the omnibus be recommended, that the omnibus be approved and recommended for board approval. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Lee,
Yes.
Director Ja,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Chairman Barclay,
Yes.
Director Jakes,
Yes.
Director Requejo.
Yes.
The motion passes. Director Jakes, you may now proceed to agenda item number 12.
And finally, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Ja, that the meeting be adjourned. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Lee,
Yes.
Director Ja,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Chairman Barclay,
Yes.
Director Jakes,
Yes.
Director Requejo.
Yes.
Motion passes.
2025. Georgette, please call the roll.
Director Lee,
Yes. Here.
Director Ja,
Here.
Director Ortiz,
Here.
Chairman Barclay,
Here.
Director Jakes,
Here.
Chairman Barclay, you do have a quorum.
Thank you. We were advised prior to this meeting that Director Raquel will be unable to attend in person due to a travel connected to a family emergency, but he is able to participate remotely. May I have a motion to admit Director Raquel remotely?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Ja, that Director Roberto Requejo be permitted to join the meeting remotely. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Lee,
Yes.
Director Ja,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Chairman Barclay,
Yes.
Director Jakes.
Yes.
The motion passes. Director Requejo, you are in the meeting.
Thank you.
Welcome. We need to amend the agenda that was posted for today's meeting in the following manner due to unforeseen time constraints. Move agenda item number 8 up, and we'll hear our Finance, Audit, and Budget Committee report immediately following the review of the minutes. 2, our executive session, which is agenda item number 6, will follow the Finance, Audit, and Budget Committee report. Upon return from the executive session, we will hear the report from our acting president, Nora Learson. We will defer agenda item 9, the construction report, to our December board meeting at this time. May I have a motion to amend the agenda in the manner stated?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Ja, that the agenda for today's meeting be in the manner stated by our chairman. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Lee,
Yes.
Director Ja,
Yes.
Director Ortiz,
Yes.
Chairman Barclay,
Yes.
Director Jakes, Director Requejo.
Yes.
The next order of business is public comment, Georgette.
Chairman Barclay, we have 6 public comments for today. Rob Romanelli, Patricia Fuente, Dan Gentile, Nick Liveris, Dan Olas, and Mickey Oluguin Riviera. We've also received written public comments from John Paul Jones, which have been copied and distributed to each member of the CTA board with your board packets for today. I will call up our first public commentator, which is Dan Gentile. Is Mr. Gentile here? I will call up our second public commentator, which is Roger Romanelli.
Would you like me
I would like for you to sit right there.
this seat?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Great. Thank you very much. Good morning. You have 3 minutes and your time will begin now.
Nice. Is there a clock somewhere that I can see, or,
On the clock.
and we just give me a 30-second or something?
I will.
Thank you very much. Good morning. I'm Roger Romanelli, representing Chicago residents and businesses involved in our Fulton Market Association, a nonprofit urban planning agency. As always, we offer deeply considered ideas to improve CTA service. Our number 65 CTA Grand Avenue buses are amazing. They serve 7,000 riders a day and 1.2 million riders a year. Among our 127 bus routes, Grand Avenue ranks 32nd in the most riders and has the sixth highest percentage of new riders since last year. That's right. At 7.7% more riders than last year, the Grand Avenue bus is among the top 6 CTA growth bus routes. If we all do the right thing on Grand Avenue, our buses will continue to retain and add new riders for years to come. But if the wrong decision is made to severely delay and obstruct our Grand Avenue buses and to deny dedicated bus lanes that we can put from Ashland Avenue to Wells Street, then bus riders will likely be diminished and the Grand Avenue bus will lose its ability to promote and grow economic development on Grand Avenue. On the one hand, Mayor Johnson is proposing, and the Department of Transportation, to remove 2 travel lanes between Ashland and Ogden, 2 travel lanes that the CTA buses currently enjoy every day. This plan was not designed with community input. Right now, instead of removing those 2 travel lanes east and westbound between Ashland and Ogden and extending all the way east to Wells, we have the space, we have the room for dedicated CTA bus lanes shared with bicycles. It's tremendous. When you go east of Ashland on Grand Avenue, the street widens to 20 feet wider. We have the ability to put in dedicated bus lanes, and that is unfortunately not in the mayor's new plan. So if the mayor's plan goes forward, the CTA bus on Grand Avenue, and we're concerned that that plan is going to go all the way east to Wells, our CTA Grand Avenue bus, one of 4 buses, daily buses serving Navy Pier, crossing 3 CTA rail lines, we believe that bus will be diminished. I also want to make a point that on October 14th, I received an email from CTA staff, I think it was from Strategic Planning, that appears to show that the CTA board is supporting CDOT's plan to delay and obstruct the CTA bus on Grand Avenue. We asked the CTA board today, please reconsider the plan and let's install dedicated bus lanes shared with bicycles on Grand Avenue from Ashland to Wells. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Romanelli, and I'd encourage you to again connect with Molly Poppy, our Chief Planning and Innovation Officer, on this topic further. Thanks.
Ms. Patricia Fuente.
Good morning. Thank you. I have a concern. Every day I take the CTA Orange Line, and I notice that there are signs with the brown line signs on the orange line where the signs are supposed to be. I have spoken to the people, the maintenance that I see in the car, and this is their response. That is not our job. And my thing is, can you please let whoever's job is to let them know that they're putting brown signs on the orange line? Why? Because people from out of state come, they don't know the difference if it's a brown sign that they're supposed to be guiding themselves or the orange sign. So then please, maintenance, lack of communications. I know that there are maintenance. The other thing is that the train yesterday, whoever is, a lot of your operators of the trains, when they're driving, conducting the train, they brake, they go, they brake, they go, they're messing up the brakes. And then later on, you're smelling that heat from the iron that is burning. That's another thing. The other thing is CTA buses. When the people go in, elderlies, I'm an elderly now, and we are hardly going through to go and sit down, and the bus just, boom, starts driving really fast. People almost fell. People, it's like, can you please tell and I remember in Seattle, not Seattle, where is it? And right now I forgot where I went. The drivers wait until the passengers sit and then they go. There's a lot of elderlies right now that are taking the CTA buses. A lot of them get hurt, and they don't say anything, but That's it. And, oh, and another thing, I won't be coming anymore. I'm retired of this. You know, you guys have the cameras right there in the buses. You see that the people are using drugs. You see whoever is operating that. You see when they're starting to fight. You see when people are eating. You see whatever. I said to myself, let them do their job.
20 seconds.
Thank you, and thank you very much for your service. All the people that come from out of state say Chicago is the best in transportation. Thank you very much. God bless. Keep on doing a good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Puente.
Thank you, Ms. Puente. I know you've been in communications with our operations team and we can continue to discuss your concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice.
Mickey
Baldwin Rivera. Thank you. No problem. I didn't give you my full first name. You'd be really struggling. Everybody calls me Mickey.
You have 3 minutes.
I am Mickey Olguin Rivera, a Chicago resident and customer of the wonderful Alliance Bakery that has locations on Grand Avenue and Division Street. My family and I love Alliance birthday cakes and their products. Chef Peter Rios is the best cake baker in Chicago by far. Together with many Chicagoans, we object to Mayor Johnson's plan to reconstruct Grand Avenue. He wants to delay, block, and worsen our CTA buses on Grand Avenue instead of improving them. Look at the mayor's plan. He would eliminate 2 vehicle lanes on Grand Avenue from Ashland to Ogden. These lanes are used by CTA buses and vehicles now. Then the mayor would force all buses and vehicles into 1 eastbound lane and 1 westbound lane. This would jam up traffic and slow down Grand Avenue CTA buses. This would hurt Alliance's employees and customers who need faster, not slower buses. This would hurt everyone else on the street. The mayor must change his plan. Instead of eliminating 2 travel lanes, let's convert these lanes into dedicated CTA bus lanes. Let's increase the bus speeds so we can help Alliance people and everyone else get to work and get around Chicago much faster. Right now, it took me an hour and a half to get here from my home. I live in Chicago. If we prioritize the CTA buses with dedicated lanes to be shared with bicycles, there is no need to put that curbside bike lanes and concrete bikes lanes barriers on Grand from Damon to Ogden. This would narrow the street and force massive delays for buses and vehicles. As a customer at Alliance, and someone who is close to being a senior citizen myself, I'm 61 years old, I need to park my car safely to the curb so that when I buy big cakes, can you imagine me walking over all of things? And then with the snow coming, I mean, it's not, they're not thinking it through. It'd be dangerous for me to cross the bike lanes and the concrete barriers just to get to my car. Alliance spent a lot of money to open that Grand Avenue location, and they need the curbside parking for their deliveries and their customers. Take this curbside parking away from Alliance without any proven justification would be unfair and would punish Alliance after they invested in so much in Chicago. You know, people want to leave Chicago. He's investing.
Seconds remaining.
Let's put dedicated bus lanes on Grand Avenue and let's make these buses faster. And let's honor Alliance Bakery for investing in Chicago and making the best birthday cakes ever. Thank you.
Thank you. And I know this conversation will continue with planning as well, given the contact with Mr. Romanelli. So thank you.
I appreciate this. This is my first time here.
Dan Olas.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
My name is Dan Olis, and I am a resident and homeowner on Grand Avenue. Together with many of my neighbors, we vehemently oppose Mayor Johnson's plan to reconstruct Grand Avenue from Damon to Ogden. His plan wants to heighten congestion in the area, increase delays, and really take a fine bus line that we have on Grand Avenue and really degrade it. The mayor's plan is unacceptable. He needs to go back to the drawing board and he needs to take the consideration of the community. When I bought my home on Grand Avenue, I knew that we had a great bus service for myself and my tenants. We can take the bus down to the red line, the blue line, the brown line. We could take it downtown. We could take it to Navy Pier. When I heard about the mayor's plan to improve Grand Avenue, I thought, how is this going to improve our situation on Grand Avenue? How is it going to impact our bus service on Grand Avenue for myself, my neighbors, and my tenants? When I found out that Mayor Johnson wants to severely delay by eliminating lanes of traffic and increasing congestion, and basically destroy the great service that bus service that we enjoy on Grand Avenue from the Grand 65 bus, I was very upset. Now I'm asking the CTA board to stand up for everybody in my community and insist that the mayor change his plan. He must improve bus service on Grand Avenue, not worsen it. Our street is wide enough from Ashland Avenue to Wells for dedicated bus lanes to make our buses go faster. And this just makes common sense. CTA must support this, and the mayor must change his plan. Let me close with this. When the mayor developed his so-called plan for Grand Avenue, he never asked for the input of myself or any of my neighbors. He just kind of went ahead and did what he thought was best. We don't like that. It doesn't work for our community. We would appreciate our input into this decision. So today I'm telling the mayor and the CTA board, our Grand Avenue committee, we have a solution. Let's improve our buses with dedicated bus lanes that can be shared with bicycles. Let's have our let's have a solution like we have on Chicago Avenue, which works incredibly well. There's no need for curbside bike lanes and concrete bike lane barriers on Grand Avenue to impede traffic. That's just going to narrow our street and increase congestion and undercut the quality of life that we currently enjoy on Grand Avenue and with the Grand Avenue bus service. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our last public speaker is Nick Liveris.
Morning.
Morning.
My name is Nick Liveris. I'm a Chicago resident and CTA bus and rail rider. CTA has a once-in-a-century opportunity to improve our Grand Avenue buses that serve 1.2 million riders a year and nearly 7,000 riders every day. Often this does include me. On behalf of my fellow Chicagoans who want better Grand Avenue buses, I asked the CTA board to ask Mayor Johnson to change his Grand Avenue reconstruction plan that would severely delay, obstruct, and worsen Grand Avenue buses instead of improving these buses with dedicated bus lanes between Ashland and Wells. On Grand, from Ashland to Ogden, the mayor wants to eliminate those 2 vehicle lanes used by CTA buses and then force all those buses into 1 eastbound lane and 1 westbound lane. This would greatly slow down Grand Avenue buses. Sadly, the mayor's plan does not include dedicated CTA bus lanes, despite plenty of street width to do this. The mayor's plan is wrong. Grand Avenue bus riders like me need faster buses, not slower buses, under the mayor's plan. Dedicated CTA bus lanes on Grand from Ashland to Ogden, extending east to Wells, is what CTA riders need. Instead of eliminating 2 travel lanes, let's convert these 2 travel lanes into dedicated bus lanes, which are proven to increase bus speeds. By contrast, we cannot dramatically worsen bus travel times and force painful, unnecessary delays on riders under the mayor's Grand Avenue plan. Today, there are 7,000 daily bus riders on Grand Avenue, and ridership is growing by 8% a year, according to your CTA data. But there is no evidence that we have 7,000 daily bike riders on Grand, so there is no need and no justification to deprioritize 7,000 bus riders below an unknown number of bike riders. Like Chicago Avenue, Grand Avenue dedicated bus lanes could be shared with bikes, giving bus and bikes unprecedented safety and access. There is plenty of room on Grand Avenue for dedicated bus lanes. My question to the CTA board, will you support these dedicated bus lanes? Will you side with CTA bus riders going to neighborhoods, downtown, CTA rail stations, metro stations, and Navy Pier on our Grand Avenue buses? Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, that concludes our public speakers for today.
Thank you to all of our speakers this morning. Our next order of business is the approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of October 8th, 2025. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Ja, that the minutes from the regular board meeting of October 8th, 2025 be approved. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Lee?
Yes.
Director Ja?
Yes.
Director Ortiz? Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Director Requejo?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Next order of business is a report from the Committee on Finance, Audit, and Budget.
Mr. Chairman, the committee met earlier this morning and approved the October 8th, 2025 committee minutes and reviewed the finance report. We reviewed for ordinances. One, to approve an ordinance approving the Title VI Fair Change Equity Analysis, authorizing the implementation of fair structure revisions. Two, to approve an ordinance adopting a budget for calendar year 2026 and financial plan for calendar years 2027 and 2028. Three, to approve an ordinance approving the fiscal years 2026 through 2030 capital improvement program and authorizing the filing and execution of grant and cooperative agreements and amendments and related materials. And lastly, to approve an ordinance authorizing payment of relocation expenses arising from the acquisition of property located at 11900 South Cottage Grove Avenue, Chicago, for the Red Line Extension Project. Committee deferred the proposed ordinance to approve an ordinance authorizing a license agreement with Pharma Box LLC to the December 2025 CTA board meeting. The committee deferred the proposed ordinance to approve an ordinance declaring surplus and authorizing the sale of real property located at 300-304 East Garfield Boulevard, Chicago, to the Skitopia Foundation. The committee deferred the proposed ordinance to approve an ordinance authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Chicago for the transfer of real property. Committee also reviewed 7 contracts. Committee placed the 4 ordinances and 7 contracts on the omnibus. The committee approved and recommended for board approval 4 ordinances and 7 contracts. This concludes the report of the Finance, Audit, and Budget Committee.
Thank you, Director Jakes. I will now entertain a motion to approve the omnibus.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ja, seconded by it's been moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Ja, that the committee report from the Finance, Audit, and Budget, that the omnibus recommendation made by Director Jakes and the Finance, Audit, and Budget Committee be approved. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Lee?
Yes.
Director Ja?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Director Requejo?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Our next item on the agenda is executive session. Kent Ray, it's my understanding that today we have an executive session.
Yes, Chairman. Today the board will recess into executive session pursuant to the Illinois Open Meetings Act, sections 1, 11, and 1.
We'll now entertain a motion to recess into executive session for reasons stated by council.
Well,
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Ja, that the board move into executive closed session. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Lee?
yes.
Director Ja?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Director Requejo?
Yes.
Motion passes. Barclay, are you ready? I'm putting us back online.
I will now entertain a motion to return to open session. Georgette?
Director Ortiz, do you move that we return to open session?
I'll move. Second.
It's been moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Ja, that the board return to open session. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Lee?
Yes.
Director Ja?
Yes.
Director Ortiz? Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Jakes?
Yes.
Director Raquel?
Yes.
Motion passes.
The next item of business on the agenda is our president's report, which will be given by our acting president, Nora List.
Closed session minutes from September 10th, 2025. We're not doing it. Okay.
Defer those, because we didn't deal with it.
Exactly. Good morning. Thank you, Chairman, Directors, and thank you for the opportunity to reflect a bit here on this historic moment for CTA. At CTA, I often think of our massive agency as a bit of an orchestra that we all play our unique roles and move forward this great agency every day. And getting us to this moment in Springfield 2 weeks ago was exactly that. In Springfield, the drum I kept beating was how ready we were to receive the funding, how much progress we had made across so many areas of our agency. And that was all because of the work each of our employees do every day, both to directly deliver service and everything behind the scenes to have us excel. All of our employees have also been operating in uncertainty for years. And a lot of my focus and what I'm reflecting on right now is that we can conclude that era of uncertainty at our agency. During this period leading up to the passage of the bill, hundreds of employees made multiple trips to Springfield alongside labor leaders, and our operations team back home adjusted to ensure service was delivered smoothly. In my conversations with legislative leaders, I was able to rattle off incredibly impressive data about hiring, service, efficiencies, planning, capital work, customer satisfaction, finance, small business support, and more, all because of the work that our employees do every single day. Key staff was also called upon repeatedly to prepare materials and information for hearings or working groups where I testified, for constant requests from membership across many years. And so many of them worked late nights gathering information, all of it feeling very high stakes at every moment to ensure a prompt response to legislators. I mean, nothing captures the complexity of the work leading up to this period than putting together 3 budgets from our finance team amidst the stress and uncertainty of the fear of no funding, and a budget that was also visionary amongst that. So in this time, also keeping an eye on vision while preparing for the worst is an incredibly sophisticated skill that our team put forth during this time. And of course, the team directly in Springfield, where we worked and marched around the Capitol repeatedly to prepare for meetings unexpected and planned throughout this period. To everyone at CTA, for the rest of your careers, you will know that you were part of this moment and part of the reason why CTA was not only saved, but set on a course for expansion. And I hope everyone is incredibly proud of that. To you, Chairman and Directors, we are so grateful for your support. I can't tell you how much your vision and steady leadership throughout this period meant for our agency. It was absolutely critical to getting us to this moment. And outside of our agency and labor partners, of course, we are so grateful to our state legislative leaders, the Mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, and the incredibly impressive work of transit advocates who I witnessed in Springfield repeatedly, and I am in awe of. They do not let up. They are why we got to this moment, and I will forever be grateful to them and look forward to future partnership with them as we move forward. This is in addition to the RTA, Metra, and PACE, who we all bonded together over several years to advocate for transit throughout our region. And I look forward to continued partnership in this new era with them. On a personal note, as someone that's been at this agency for 11 years, and who was drafting that letter in the early morning hours of October 31st to our employees to tell them no service cuts, no layoffs. I've drafted a lot of letters from the president's office over the years. Some of them really stick with you. And as I drafted that one on the 31st, I thought of the 16 that we sent during COVID to tell people about 16 employees that had died of COVID during their time here. This has been a heavy 5 years for our agency. Because coming out of the pandemic and the horror and the fear, we were met only with uncertainty of our financial future. We hired thousands of employees while also talking about layoffs. Our managers in the field are met with concerned eyes across the pandemic and across the threat of service cuts, and have to give people inspiration to keep going out there every single day. And it's over. It's lifted. And I'll tell you, I'm a poetry fan. I don't have much time to read more than poetry. So I will tell you one line that I think of a lot is from one of my favorite poets, that joy is not meant to be a crumb. And we will celebrate this. And we will live this in a happy, joyous way into the future. And I will make sure of that. Because this agency, its employees, and its riders deserve that. I've already noticed that being able to speak about expanding our Orange Line service to 24 hours, being able to speak about expanding our bus frequent network, has us in a conversation on a national level as a transit agency that we were not before. The future is very bright, and I'm very excited and thankful. So thank you. I also want to transition in my remarks to recognize a change at our agency that is upcoming. I know some of you, but not all of you, are aware, our esteemed General Counsel, Kent Ray, will be retiring at the end of this month. And I want to say a few words because not everyone may realize his extensive tenure at CTA. Kent first came 35 years ago in 1990 as a chief attorney of corporate and general law. And over the 2 decades that he worked here, he was promoted to and served in various management roles in CTA's law department, including Deputy General Counsel of Labor, Policy and Appeals, as well as Acting General Counsel in 2009 and 2010. When he left CTA in 2010, he took on other new and challenging legal counsel roles at Cook County, the Cook County State's Attorney's Office, and the Cook County Health and Hospital System, further expanding his government experience before returning back to CTA in June of 2022 as our general counsel. We are so grateful to him for his CTA time. He has navigated very uncertain waters for us for the past several years. And I can say on a personal level, when Kent came back, it was like everybody knew Kent. I didn't know you. But after talking to you for about a half hour, I felt like, oh yeah, I know Kent. Kent, you're a really great person. You calm tough scenarios. You're an admirable family man that I admire. I will miss you as a partner. For myself, there are some things that the leader of this agency can only talk to their general counsel about, and I will miss those conversations with you. I thank you so much for your CTA service and look forward to celebrating you as well. Thank you. That concludes my remarks, Chairman.
Thank you, Nora, for your report and for the work that you and the team have done in terms of developing the budget. I want to begin by commending the entire staff for producing a thoughtful and responsible plan under circumstances that were more complex than usual this year. Preparing a budget in the midst of significant uncertainty about the outcome in Springfield required discipline, coordination, adaptability. And I appreciate the professionalism shown throughout that process. With the passage of the transit legislation, I am pleased that we now have clarity for fiscal year 2026, long overdue correction to the regional funding formula. For decades, our region has operated under an inequitable funding structure that placed a disproportionate burden on CTA and the communities we serve. This bill finally replaces that outdated model with a framework that more accurately reflects the service levels we provide. The bill also provides the funding to sustain the workforce and service improvements we have worked over the past years to restore, and it positions us to better meet the expectations of our riders and our region. My hope is that our region will honor that new framework and provide the funding that is needed for our agency to expand on the improvements to service our riders have asked for and they deserve. I commend your team for the efforts in bringing this funding component of the bill across the finish line. At the same time, the bill is extensive, totaling over 1,000 pages. And like most major legislation, there are areas of strong alignment and areas that warrant continued discussion. While I fully support reform that strengthens regional coordination and improves accountability, I am concerned about some of the governance provisions in the bill that extend beyond these goals. The shift of final decision-making authority on key policies and operational matters to the regional board will limit our ability as an agency to act quickly and responsibly to the needs of our communities. Reforms should strengthen our ability to serve, not dilute or strip away the tools we need to do the job effectively. And I'm concerned that this new structure risks diminishing the local accountability and autonomy that have been essential to CTA delivering responsive, community-centered service. This underscores the importance of a thoughtful and deliberate implementation process. As chair, I will continue analyzing the legislation in detail and working closely with all stakeholders, our staff, our regional partners, legislators, and our community to ensure that implementation benefits our riders. Before closing, I too would like to take a moment to acknowledge General Counsel Kent Ray. Kent, you provided this board and the CTA with sound legal counsel and steady guidance through some of the most complex and challenging periods of our agency in recent years. Your professionalism, deep knowledge, and integrity have been invaluable in helping us navigate through each issue. Your calm and principled leadership has earned the respect of colleagues throughout the CTA and with other agencies and attorneys you interact with. On behalf of the board, I want to express my sincere appreciation for your exceptional service and contributions and wish you every bit of success in your future endeavors. You're leaving a lasting impact on CTA, and your contributions will continue to strengthen the work we do here. Thank you very much, and good luck in retirement or whatever you do next. At this point, I'd like to open it up for any further comments from any other board members on Acting President Learson's report, as well as any comments with respect to Kent.
Great report, President. Great report. Kent, who's going to tell us now when we want to do something? Well,
there are a lot of people.
Congratulations, and you will be missed.
Thank you.
Same thing. Thank you, Ken, for all of your hard work. I appreciate all of your thoughtfulness to every action and intention as well that we have. You guide us through the right path to really explore the things that we are curious about and want to make sure that we serve to the best of our abilities. So thank you for that guidance. Much appreciated. In terms of where we are today and the moment, we've talked about many moments throughout, the last couple of years. So I appreciate your very narrow sort of walkthrough across looking back from COVID to through COVID, post-COVID, and where we are now. So thank you for rising to the moment. Your leadership has been an incredible anchor to so many of, our team overall, but also across legislatures and other entities. So greatly appreciate your leadership. Again, thank you to every single partner who made a role to make this happen. I'm really excited again about the updated framework for new funding revenues for CTA, which I think will be more equitable, which is one of the major things that I wanted to see in this bill. And just looking forward to continue to service to the best of our ability and continue to make the best work for Chicago. Thank you for that.
Oh, where to begin, y'all? This is a lot. Okay. Kent, we will miss you. Thank you for your service and, can't wait to hear what's next and how the next adventure goes. And we wish you the best.
Thank you.
Appreciate all your service. And for the report, wow, we are at such an amazing moment, y'all. This is something to reflect upon. This is something to rejoice and savor, honestly. So I think we're going to take a moment and do some applause for the entire team, advocacy groups, for the whole community, for our legislative body, for the leadership here. And we're just going to we made it. We can breathe a little better now. No more fiscal cliff, y'all. We don't talk about it. Thank you.
Director Raquel.
I just wanted to join my colleagues and Nora in congratulating Kent for his service. I've learned a lot about do's and don'ts thanks to you, Kent, and I hope your successor is as good as you are in teaching me what to do and what not to. And then in response to the excellent news about the funding, and the bill itself. Congratulations, of course, to everyone. I already mentioned this a few times. This was a true, it takes a village. And what was unprecedented was not only the bill that came out of this, but the level of collaboration and coordination among people who had never come together in support of a transportation bill. And that includes, transit advocates, environmental justice advocates, unions, staff, riders. There are a lot of people who came together and that we are now accountable to in delivering our promise. And I look forward to these improvements. The funding part was clearly one of the most nerve-wracking components of it, especially for our workers and our riders, especially thinking about the cuts. I want to say that I really appreciated through the process how you, Nora, and your team were able to, with one hand, prepare for the worst and prepare for the cuts, and on the other hand, at the same time, dream for the best case scenario, which fortunately is the one that materialized. And it's not easy at the darkest hour to dream, and you all did it, and we're glad you did it because now we have a plan to move forward. And the funding, as nerve-wracking and protracted as it was, is only a piece of the bill. It's a 1,000-page bill, and there are a lot of components in it. And it calls for a new era with new values completely. And while the law doesn't take place or is not active until mid-year, we don't need to wait till mid-year to start using and implementing the new values, especially the one around collaboration, about regional vision, about growth, about equity, about sustainability. These are all components of the bill that we can start honoring right now. And the thing about this bill also is that it created a framework for the first time of abundance. We've been operating on the scarcity mode for decades, and now we have resources. And I think we can finally now showing up at places, and instead of asking, where is my slice of the pie, ask, how do we bake a better pie together, right? How do we share power? How do we collaborate? I think the pending funding that we talked about earlier today is a great starting point to use that new funding as a place to collaborate with PACE, with Metra, with RTA, with IDOT. And just wanted to close by saying, let's start working on those explicit calls in the bill. Let's talk about bus rapid transit and make it happen. Let's talk about safety and make it happen. Let's talk about ETOD and make it happen. And many, many other things that are listed in the bill. So count on me to help you all implement as soon as possible. And congratulations again to the team and to everyone at CTA.
Thank you. We will now address board agenda item number 7, board matters. Georgette, do we have any board matters today?
Chairman, there are no board matters.
Our final order of business is new business. Georgette, is there any new business?
Mr. Chairman, there is no new business.
Since there's no further business to come before the board, may I have a motion to adjourn the Chicago Transit Board meeting of November 12, 2025?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Director Ortiz, seconded by Director Lee, that the meeting be adjourned. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Lee?
Yes.
Director Ortiz?
Yes.
Chairman Barclay?
Yes.
Director Yates?
Yes.
Director Requejo?
Yes.
Motion passes.